All right, so good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning for our AIEA May General Meeting. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 11:05 a.m. So Nawa, Kwahat, Hatsoem Toya, Goigu, Masip, Chawi, Mda, Kimberly Denkabige Akan. Good morning, my name is Kimberly Denkabige. I am of the Kiowa, Caddo, and Pawnee Nations, originally from Oklahoma. I currently reside here in Tucson, Arizona, and serve as the coordinator for the Native American Education Program with the Amphitheater Public Schools. I currently sit as the president for the Arizona Indian Education Association. And again, a big welcome to everybody that is able to join us this morning. If you'll take a look at your screen, we just always want to give acknowledgement for the homelands of where we are currently at. So if you'll just bear with me just a few minutes, I would like to read our land acknowledgement statement. Beneath the contemporary surface of any site in the United States, there are histories of belonging that have been erased, overlooked, contested, and forgotten, all ways to support ideas like manifest destiny, which justified the conquest of native lands. Between 1776 and 1887, the United States seized over 1.5 billion acres from America's indigenous people by treaty and executive order. There are currently 574 sovereign tribal nations, variously called tribes, nations, bands, pueblos, communities, and native villages that have a formal nation-to-nation relationship with the U.S. government. There are 334 federally and state recognized American Indian reservations in 2010. These 574 tribal nations are located across 35 states and within the geographical borders of the United States. Even within the U.S. borders, each tribal nation exercises its own sovereignty. Each of the 574 tribal governments is legally defined as a federally recognized tribal nation. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who have contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment in time. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hopes of a better life. And some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. Today, we acknowledge the ancestral lands of the Yakima Otham and the Peepush people upon which our AIEA headquarters stands. I also acknowledge the homelands of the Tohono O'odham and the Waimea people, the Pasquayaki, upon which I currently am. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truth at any and all public events. So I just want to say thank you for allowing us this time to read this acknowledgement statement. I think it's so important that we give the acknowledgement at every opportunity we can, and we also encourage you to do so at any and all the public events that you are a part of as well. And so thank you again for allowing us this time to read this statement. So moving on in the agenda, we do have just quick agenda overview. We do have the welcome land acknowledgement, quick introductions. We have approval of the minutes, the president's report, treasurer's report, and then we'll go into Indian education updates by the Office of Indian Education, as well as the National Indian Education representatives that will provide those updates for us. Then we'll go into the old business, new business, and then we always end out with our program share outs. And so there's a little bit about what we're going to be or what is on the agenda for today. So again, I thank you for being here and for taking the time to share this morning with us. As a reminder, our next meeting will be June 16th. As another reminder, we meet every third Friday of every month, unless otherwise noted. And if we are not meeting that month, we will definitely send out a notification ahead of time. For the month of June, just as a heads up, we do not meet during the month of July. The month of July. July is usually allocated toward our membership drive. And so we do encourage you that if you are not a member of AIEA, that we do encourage you to become a member to have the benefits that come along with being a part of our membership and the organization. Again, our membership runs from November 1st to October 31st of every year. So if you have not become a member of AIEA, you still have time to do so, but we'll share more information about that later in the agenda in the meeting today. Next, we have our approval of the minutes, and for recording purposes, the meeting minutes were provided. Travis, our secretary, had uploaded the meeting minutes for June 24th, October 21st of last year, 2022. And he also uploaded the meeting minutes for the April 21st meeting. And so everybody had a chance to review those meeting minutes. We did send those out ahead of time. And so we call for a motion to approve the meeting minutes. Esther Nystrom, who is our vice president, motion to approve the meeting minutes. It was seconded by Shannon Hadley, who is a member of AIEA. All the meeting minutes passed to date. There was another motion tabling the minutes for September 9th and November 18th because I did not have time to fully complete those meeting minutes in the past that needed to be typed and sent out to the membership. And so there was a motion to table the meeting minutes to June. Again, that motion was made by Esther Nystrom, our vice president, and it was seconded by Sheila, who serves as our current treasurer. And so the motion passed to table those meeting minutes until our June meeting. Next on the agenda, we had our president's report. And so for the report, I didn't have a whole lot. I just wanted to highlight a few items in regard to the Johnson O'Malley program and the funds. Excuse me. So first and foremost, I just wanted to, as a reminder, because I do bring this up and I share it out during the president's report every month, that there is an Arizona Johnson O'Malley quarterly forum that is held quarterly. It is hosted by the National Johnson O'Malley Association's Region 1 representative, in which I currently sit, as well as a partnership with the Office of Indian Education at the State Department with ADE. We held our meeting, or our last forum was held April 27th, and it focused on tribal perspectives as far as the Johnson O'Malley program and the funds. Our next forum will be held in July. So on July 29th is when the next forum will be held. It is held in the morning time from 9 a.m. until noon. And it does, we do allocate that time because there's so many question and answers that are held. We are fortunate that the Bureau of Indian Education has been a part of our meetings ever since we started the forums, with the exception of this past meeting in April. And so we know that it's a busy time as far as our grant time and getting some student counts in. And so we understand that their office has been very busy within the past few weeks. But as I mentioned, we are very fortunate that the BIE representatives have been a part of our Johnson O'Malley Forum for our state of Arizona since we started back in January of 2022. And so we are going into our second year. We're halfway through, and we're really excited with what resources have been shared throughout these forums. We created some toolkits that are online, and so we will share that Region 1 website out to everybody so you can see what work has been done since we have been creating or doing these quarterly forums. Again, the quarterly schedule is every 3 months, and so our next meeting will be July 27th. And following that, the next Arizona JOM Forum will be held on October 26th. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me for any questions you may have in regard to that. Next, I wanted to highlight our JOM student count for this upcoming year. The student count will be for this past year. So it's for the fiscal year or the school year 2022 to 23. So if you have not submitted your student counts, we encourage you to contact all of the ADE grantees that haven't done that. Please contact ADE to get further instruction on what you need to do. This is in regard to also the tribes, for those tribes that do have JOM programs. The JOM student count is due to the BIE on June 1st. All of the ADE grantees had to submit their student counts on May 17th, even if the funds have been waived. Beginning in 2024, for the fiscal year, BIE funding Allocations will be based upon the 2022-23 student count. So that's this past school year, as I mentioned. Previous allocations were based upon the 1995 student count. And so thanks to the JOM Modernization Act, allocations will be based on more accurate student counts. So it's very important that we get these student counts in, because that's going to determine what our funding will be for the upcoming year, for next year. And then every year thereafter, we're hoping that that will be updated. So however, grantees whose counts fall below the 1995 student count at the time, they will see a reduction in their JOM allocation. So we do want to make note of that, that if based upon the 1995 student count, if your current student count is lower than that amount, then just know that your JOM funds will have a reduction in what is being allocated to you. Again, if you have any questions, please, all ADE grantees, please reach out to the State Department there at, with Terry Beeler-Lacido. She's been very helpful with any questions in regard to the JOM student count for ADE grantees. All other grantees may reach out to your representative, Kimberly Beckwith. She is our representative for our region with the JOM funds. And so if you have any further questions, or if you need more contact information, please feel free to reach out to me for those questions. Next, I wanted to highlight the National JOM Annual Conference Awards. And so the JOM board invites you to make recommendations from your respective region for Teacher of the Year and Exemplary Program of the Year. Award criteria for Exemplary Program of the Year includes the following: the program maintains a good working parent committee and or Indian Education Committee. All reports and documentation are submitted in a timely fashion, and program archives exemplary results with the level of JOM funding received. So just to make note, for Teacher of the Year, we do ask that you send in a picture as well as biographical information for the nomination that you are submitting for. This will be for purposes for if your nomination is selected, your nominee is selected, that information will go and become a part of the conference booklet. So we are asking that if you have any nominations that you would like to provide, please provide a picture and a bio for each one, and one form per nomination. Complete one form for each award recommendation, and then attach the pictures and further documentation that are indicated to reflect what the criteria was, as I mentioned before. The contact information can be emailed or mailed to the information that was provided in the chat box, which is the National Johnson O'Malley Association contact information. The National JOM Conference website was also dropped in the chat box, which highlights the annual conference. The annual conference will take place this year, September 11th through the 13th, and it will be held in Chicago, Illinois. And so if you have not registered for the annual conference and are wanting to go, I do encourage you to get your registrations in, especially for the hotel. The hotel does book up fairly quickly. We do have a block of rooms, but again, it fills up quickly. So we encourage you to get those rooms booked as soon as possible. But the conference information is available online. Again, the conference website is dropped in the chat box, so feel free to browse through that for more information. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will get those answers for you. If I don't have them, then I can definitely look and find somebody who does. Next, I wanted to highlight the Title VI grantees. The Title VI application, which is the EASY form part 2 of the fiscal year for the upcoming fiscal year 23-24, the Title VI formula grant was opened, but it has closed as of last Friday. So the Department of Education issued a notice for new awards for fiscal year 2023 for Indian education formula grants to local education agencies. The electronic application system for Indian education, which is an EASY Part 2, closed on Friday, May 12th. A webinar for the EASY Part 2 reallocation funds for the fiscal year 23-24 was held on May 3rd. Users can view the previously hosted EASY webinars on the following link. And so the link was dropped into the chat box for those who would like more information about that. Again, please visit the following for more information and to keep up to date for current AIEA events and activity updates. So in the chat box, you'll see our email, links to our website, links to our social media, our Facebook page, as well as our YouTube channel. I did notice that when I went on the YouTube channel just recently that I don't have all of our general meetings uploaded to that, but I will get to that this week, and hopefully by next week they will all be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So for those who have missed any of our general meetings in the past, you'll be able to go back and see the past general meetings and get up to date on what's been happening for AIEA. In conclusion, AIEA continues to create safe spaces for our membership to be heard. We will also continue to work with allies and partners to make meaningful and measurable change within our organization and society as a whole, and keeping with our mission to provide research and resources to Arizona schools for American Indian students to achieve academic excellence through culturally responsive education. So again, thank you for your time. For those who do make time to attend our AIEA general meetings, again, we also understand for those who are unable to, just the conflicts with your schedules that may conflict with the time and date of our general meetings. But again, we do record all of our general sessions, so that is uploaded to our YouTube page, and we will provide that information once it becomes available. So with that, I will close out the president's report here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Take two. Okay. So as I was saying, we do bank with Desert Financial Credit Union. And in our account so far this month, we have in our checking account, we have $1,410.24. Our savings has increased a little due to the fact that we get interest on our monies there. We have $30,427.49. One thing that I wanted to bring up, as I said, John brought up this question. If you have not paid your annual dues, the application is, I guess we need to get that application in the link. Currently, right now, if you go under the Intertribal Council of Arizona, you will find the AIEA Association in there, and you'll find our membership application. Right now, for private, corporate, or business, it is $100 as the annual dues that entitles you to 2 votes maximum. For local educational agencies, tribal education programs, or other educational agencies are all $50 for the annual dues, also with 2 votes maximum. Or you can do an individual membership, which is only $25, and you get 1 maximum vote. So we'll probably have to, we're still in the process of trying to get everything organized. As you know, we have a collaboration with ITCA, and I'm going to try to go meet with them down there so we can get everything organized as far as making sure that all our current POs are being processed with invoices and so forth, and get everything kind of, new to this. I have not done this in a while. Travis and I were also still meeting with Desert Financial to get me put on the account so I can have a little bit more access than what I have right now. So, but hopefully we'll get that done by this next meeting. That's the hope. That's the plan. So.
Thank you, Sheila. I did put the link for the application in the chat box. Currently, that is our application. You still have time to join. Our membership does run from November 1st to October 31st of every year. And so again, you do have time to still join if you are wanting to become a member of our organization, which we encourage you to do so. Excuse me. But again, that link is in the chat for those who would like, and it is an easy form. It's a fillable form, excuse me, that you can complete online and send to us. We do have a current updated address that we will get to later in this meeting. So are there any questions for Sheila? All right. Travis, if you're back yet, do you have any additional comments you would like to make?
About the budget?
Well, anything to add to what Sheila shared?
No, she's doing a great job as a treasurer.
Awesome, awesome.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, she sure is. And as Sheila mentioned, we are still trying to make that transition. So we are working towards that, and we're making great progress. And so it just takes a little bit, especially when it comes to finances, to ensure that everything's done properly. So I sincerely appreciate both Travis and Sheila for taking the time to go to the bank and making sure that AIEA is still in compliance. So. All right, so with that, if there's no other questions, we will move on in our agenda. And next item is, is our Indian education update. And so I did see where Lynn Ann just hopped on. Lynn Ann, are you available to provide an update?
Hi, Kim. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Awesome.
I just quickly wanted to share some opportunities from our office that are happening throughout the summer, and let me make sure that I'm sharing the most up-to-date information. So give me 1 second here. Well, first of all, I wanted to share out that we're really excited. I know Kimberly talked about the forum that we've collaborated on with Johnson O'Malley. We also oversee the ESSA tribal consultation process for the state as well. And so what happens there is, the LEAs and the tribes conduct their tribal consultations, which is a requirement of ESSA, which covers all of the title funds. So Title I, Title II, 3, 4, and you even have up to 6 and 7. So we collect those affirmation of tribal consultation forms here at the state. We verify that consultation has occurred, and then we basically verify that the compliance piece is there. And so as part of that, just in an effort to get out more information about tribal consultation and really the foundations of tribal consultation, we created an online course. It's 1 hour long, and it's open to anybody to take the course. We're always looking for feedback as well. So those of you who maybe have engaged in tribal consultation before, we certainly are open to feedback. We did do a pilot, kind of a pilot run with a couple of tribal education department representatives, with some LEA representatives, and also within the department. We also had our program areas, take a look at it. So Sarah did put the link, I believe, in the chat to that tribal consultation online course, and you're welcome. Anybody's welcome to sign up for it. So again, it's foundations of tribal consultation. So we're really excited about that we're able to put that out there, because I know a lot of times we get, kind of stuck in the cycle where we're constantly explaining to people, why tribal consultation is important, but also the fact that, it is a requirement in order to receive those title funds. And then second of all, just wanted to share some information about our summer OIE professional development or professional learning opportunities that are happening. We are teaming up, or Helen is teaming up with the social studies team here under academic achievement. And let's see, I think Sarah also put the flyer in the link, the link to the flyer in the chat as well. And so you will see, let me get those details. Sorry about that. I don't want to get the dates. I don't want to get the dates incorrect on those. So the first session's happening on June 15th from 1 to 3 p.m. And actually, let's see, Kimberly, can I share my screen? Is that okay? That way you can look at it while I'm saying it. So again, this is the Social Studies Summer Seminar Series. It is BYOB, meaning build your own background. And so it's going to be, the content, resources, evidence-based practices. We are collaborating, as I said, with our social studies team here at ADE. The first set of PL workshops is called Respectfully Integrating Indigenous Perspectives. And of course, that is into the classroom. Or into the school setting, school environment. And so it's specific to grades K or kindergarten through 5th grade on June 15th from 1 to 3. And then grades 6 through 12th on June 27th from 1 to 3 p.m. And then the second series we're offering is called Teaching About Tribal Sovereignty in K-12 Classrooms. And again, that one is for all grades. So that's K-12. That is happening on June 21st from 1 to 3 p.m. And then the same session is happening again June 29th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So we try to offer 2 different time frames for that in case somebody, is not available in the morning and or the afternoon. And so there's a QR code there, but Sarah did put the link to the flyer. So please share that out with all of your listservs, with any of your contacts. Let's get these educators, school staff, administrators, into these sessions so that we know that they're appropriately serving our Native students. So let me see, I'm going to stop sharing there. And then let's see, we also have, we're going to be kicking off. Let me make sure this is the correct one here. Okay. So our PL specialist, Helen, is also going to be kicking off a year-long series. It's going to be called Learning with Native American Students, Instructional Community of Practice. So we get, requests from different LEAs, we get requests from tribal education departments. We receive all of these requests about how can we, how do we better understand the most appropriate, most effective, most efficient ways of working with our Native students. And so this is going to be a monthly space that's going to be offered, again, open to anybody. And I shouldn't have stopped sharing. I should have kept sharing. Y'all aren't looking at what I'm looking at. Sorry. Okay. There. And it's going to be the 3rd Wednesday of every month. It's going to happen every month throughout the school year. And the first session is going to be starting July 19th of 2023. Again, free and open to all K-12 teachers and instructional leaders in Arizona. And so the focus is going to be on collaboratively exploring teaching strategies and resources that are aligned with standards and our evidence-based practices as well. And that is best supporting the academic achievement of Native American students. And so again, please share out that information far and wide. We certainly, welcome anybody into these spaces. And so again, that is going to be a monthly PL that we will be offering. And I believe that is it for us. Are there any questions? And actually, I do have 2 more announcements. I know that in the last meeting, we announced that we are going to be hosting a youth conference this summer. That has been put on hold as of now. We are looking at, we're working with our leadership here at ADE to figure out what our events are going to look like for the next year. And so we've put in our proposals for an OIE stakeholder summit. Haven't heard back yet. We're also hoping to still host a youth event, youth conference sometime in the future. And so for now, we are just presenting at various other conferences. The Leading Change conference is happening in Tucson, and that's from June 7th through the 9th. ADE is hosting that conference. There's also an Apache County Teachers Conference that is happening June 20th and 21st, and that is in St. John's, I believe. Sarah, is that correct? St. John's? Arizona. So there's those two conferences that ADE is a part of. We're also going to be presenting at the NAGSTA conference, which is the Native American Grant Schools Association, and that's going to be on June 2nd. So again, we're presenting workshops in different spaces and at different conferences, but we really are hoping to host our own, summit and youth conference sometime in the next year or so. And then another announcement we have is hopefully in the next week or two, I'm waiting to approve the announcements, but we're going to be hiring 3 new positions. One of those positions is going to be a data coordinator position. And then the second one is going to be our tribal liaison and policy coordinator position. And then the third one is going to be an education program specialist that's going to be overseeing or assisting with the school and state school improvement plan and oversee our RISE grantees or RISE grants that we're going to be announcing in June. So hopefully by the next AIEA meeting, we're going to know exactly who our grantees are and we can announce those at that time. So I think that's it. Thanks for the time.
Always great information that is provided by OIE. Thank you, Lynn Ann, for sharing that. Are there any questions for Lynn Ann? I know that was quite a bit, so if you have any questions later that come to mind, please feel free to email Lynn Ann or Sarah, if y'all don't mind just dropping your contact information in the chat in case anybody has any questions. At a later time, they'll be able to connect with you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. We'll go ahead and put our Indian education inbox email address, and have to apologize. I've got to jump off at 12, but I really appreciate the time to be able to share.
Awesome. Thank you, Lynn Ann, for taking time to share out all these wonderful events that are taking place. We'll look forward to seeing you guys at conferences as well as upcoming events. Hopefully that will be approved and take place next year. So thank you for all the information you provided. All right, if there are no other questions, then we will move on, which is our next update. And I do not see Joaquin on the call today. But I will share out just a couple of items on their behalf for NIEA. First and foremost, their annual conference is coming up and it will take place in Albuquerque. It'll take place October 18th through the 23rd. And I did put a link to that conference information for those who are interested in attending. We usually have an AIEA representative that will be in attendance for that. And this year it will be our treasurer, Ms. Sheila, who will be attending on our behalf. Again, their convention is taking place in Albuquerque. I'm trying to remember what their theme was. I don't have it right off the top of my head, but it coincides with our National Johnson O'Malley theme. So the theme for our National Johnson O'Malley conference is Make It Count. And so NIEA is continuing the theme that they had last year and building on that, in addition to connecting with our JOM theme. So I thought that was really nice and convenient for us. But again, that's just some information about the upcoming convention that's taking place. Thank you, Sarah. Education sovereignty, it begins with us, is the theme for the NIEA convention that's coming up. And so we did have a conversation with Diana when we were all in Washington, D.C. A couple of months back, and she really enjoyed the connection that they can make with our Johnson O'Malley conference, because it is a month before the NIEA conference. And so it was nice on how it added to what their theme will be for this year. Just a quick legislative review that just a few notes that I had from what Joaquin had shared some time back. Let me put this in the chat. This is a link to their legislative review. Make sure it's the correct one and not an older one. But they do continuously work on a lot of issues in relation to Indian education. And so if you want to become updated on what they're addressing right now, the link does go directly to their NIEA legislative review for the 2022. But those are some of the issues that they addressed during the time. And a lot of those are still continuing on for what's taking place currently. One of the things that I'm not sure if NIEA is involved in it, but in Oklahoma, in my home state of all states, there was a student who was actually suing one of the school districts there in the state, Broken Arrow School District, because she was had her eagle feather that was taken away from her during her graduation ceremonies. And so she is a former student that graduated, I believe, last year. So she took steps in order to bring this lawsuit against that school district. And so the Native American Rights Fund that I know of has stepped in, and they are assisting the young lady in pursuing this lawsuit against the school district. One of the main reasons is just that every year we kind of encounter that during this time of the school year. During the graduations, we have a lot of school districts that may not agree with our Native American students wearing their tribal regalia or their items of cultural significance. Fortunately for us here in Arizona, there was legislation that was passed last year that allows our students, our Native American students, to wear their tribal regalia, including items of cultural significance, which includes an eagle feather or eagle plume. But other states aren't so fortunate as we are. And so this, as I mentioned, is happening in the state of Oklahoma. And so there's several other issues that are occurring around that certain topic. And so I just encourage you to keep informed of what's taking place, because that has a direct effect upon our Native American students, not just our students here in Arizona, but across Indian country. And if we can provide that support to those states and to those parents and students who are encountering those types of situations, you know, we always encourage that support for them, because it is a tough and challenging situation that they usually get put in. But just making note that I did read that there is a lawsuit that is taking place in the state of Oklahoma in regard to that. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to share out for NIEA. I know that they are, from the last update that Joaquin had shared, they were developing a white paper in regard to Indian education that will be coming out soon. I think they're still currently working on that paper. They're working with an office out of DC with Mr. Ian Record, who is helping provide that information. And so once that becomes available, I'm sure Joaquin will share it with us, that we'll be able to get it out to our membership to keep you updated on what that entails also. But otherwise, I have no other updates for NIEA. Are there any questions?
Kimberly, John has his hand raised.
Oh, thank you. Yes, John.
I was just going to say, respond what you said. The reason Arizona changed its law about graduation, there was an article not too long ago in the paper about a young woman from Dysart School District in the Phoenix area who challenged and settled a lawsuit. And I know NARF, or Native American Rights Fund, was involved with that also. And I think that was relatively recent, but the graduate was from a few years ago, where she wasn't allowed to wear something appropriately. And anyway, so I just, that was a recent thing I came across. Very much sounds like the same thing as it's going on in Oklahoma.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of legality or litigations, that's the word I was trying to look for, that are occurring in regard to that topic, across Indian country. Like I said, a lot of states aren't as fortunate as we are to allow our students to wear their tribal regalia during the graduation ceremonies. And so there's litigation suits that come up in particular states that do not allow that. And so they're still fighting, and in some states, some school districts actually do allow it depending on their policies that they have for their graduation ceremonies in regard to Native American students. But that's just one of many issues that takes place during this time of the school year. Again, we just want to encourage that any support that you can provide as parents and as for our Native American students, because sometimes they feel like they're out on their own, and when they're encountering those type of situations, just provide encouragement at whatever you're able to for that. But thank you, John, for sharing that information. Any other questions or comments? All right, if there are none, we will move on in the agenda to our old business. So first up, we have our student scholarship that will take place. We are still calling for some scholarship committee members, and we are in preparation on getting that released. And so at this time, I am going to turn it over to our Vice President, Ms. Esther.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Kim. All right, for our student scholarships, last year it was released in August. However, I'd like to meet the scholarship committee meeting to be held on June 1st. We're going to review the application, change any dates, any suggestions that we may want to go through. We vetted that application quite a bit, but we definitely want to make sure that it is available to our students and that it is simplified, specific, and has all the components that we need to make sure that we can review the applications properly to pick the best student applicant. So our meeting will be held June 1st. I will be mailing out to everybody an invitation. It is by Zoom, so we won't be meeting in person. And then you'll have a chance to review the application in the Google Drive for AIEA on June 1st. And then we'll have that committee meeting right then, and then you'll have access. And then we'll review the date on when we want it to be released, and we'll go from there. So I hope you respond to the email on June 1st for our scholarship committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. And again, if you are interested in serving on the scholarship committee, excuse me, we have had such outstanding applicants that have applied for the scholarship. We are already getting calls and emails on when the application will be released. So we do request your assistance in helping us update the application and get it out in a timely manner for those students who are requesting for the scholarship application to be released. And so again, if you're interested in serving on the committee, please email Esther or just drop your contact information in the chat box and just address that scholarship committee interest. And then Esther will be sure to grab your email and to send the Zoom meeting invite out to you. So are there any questions? All right. If there are none, we'll move next on the agenda is our summer youth camp. So we are in the process of still planning. Currently, our committee is meeting only once a month. Starting next month in June, we will start meeting weekly. We meet, excuse me, the first Wednesday of every month. Again, starting in June, we'll meet every Wednesday at noon. And so if you're interested in joining us on the committee, please feel free to let us know. You can email me or the AIEA Gmail, and we'll be sure to get those meeting or committee meeting notices out to you also. But our theme for this summer camp will take place July 29th and 30th. We have a location that is to be announced at a later date. We thought we would have one by this time, but unfortunately it just hasn't worked out for us. And so we are currently looking at other options that we will hold our summer youth camp. We do want to have it in person. And so the updated flyer that you can see on your screen here, the theme for this year is Braiding the Elements of Life. And so the theme focuses on the 4 elements of the fire, water, land, and the air. So we are really excited. This event is open to American Indian students in grades 7 through 12 who are living in Arizona. This year's theme emphasizes the ways our ancestors used cultural knowledge of the surrounding environment to sustain a way of life for our people. So as you can see there, our registration is out. Registration for non-AIEA members is $200. For members, we get a discount, which registration will be for $150. There are daily themes for each day of the camp. So it is a weekend that we are going to be holding this camp. We are recruiting and an outreach to tribal colleges, to colleges themselves, institutions, for any college mentors that would like to be a part of this camp. We are also seeking elders who would like to serve as elders in residence. The elders will stay and camp with us for the duration of the time. But it's a really great experience. We are also updating our presenters list. I know we had planned to have our winter camp, so we are reaching back out to previous presenters who were available in January to see if we can still include them for the summer camp. But everything's getting finalized, that we're continuing to outreach to ensure that everybody's still available. But if not, we always look at future presenters for our camps. We are hoping that we will continue this as a winter camp also, that usually takes place in December during the winter break when students are out of school. So we're hoping that that will happen this year, as well as continuation for our summer camp in the summertime. But currently I am co-leading this event with Enrique Salt, who works here at the University of Arizona. And so if you have any questions, please reach out to either one of us. You can see our contact information there for any questions that you may have. But again, this is going to take place July 29th through the 30th. July 28th will be a training date where we will reach out to our college mentors, our elders, and our presenters and the camp staff. That it'll be a day of training of what to expect for the upcoming camp. So we don't leave you hanging. If you know of anybody interested in wanting to participate, then please let us know. Are there any questions? All right. I have actually reached out at the beginning of this meeting. I saw Trudy and Shannon on the call, but they're with the Girl Scouts, so I have reached out to them. I'm going to follow up with them after the meeting, that possibly they may have some space, if any, available for our camp. But we'll keep everybody updated once we do confirm a location and get that in place. And the flyer will be updated at that time. For any registration, there is a QR code there on the flyer, as well as a link for information about registration. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. All right, if there are none, we will move on to our bylaws. And so some exciting stuff happening with AIEA. We have a lot going on. And so at this time, I am going to turn it back over to our Vice President Esther to share some information about the bylaws.
Okay, so we did pause on the bylaws committee members because AIEA is restructuring. So we are in the middle of restructuring right now. I'd like to ask to postpone the bylaws committee to make any changes, and maybe until July. So our next meeting, so we're going to be working on our AIEA documents and other components, and then we'll meet in July. But I would like to postpone that bylaws and changing of anything until that paperwork and our different changes in July. So I hope.
Sounds good. Thank you, Esther.
Mhm.
Again, if you're willing to join this committee, we would ask that you contact Esther and let her know so that way she can be sure to send the meeting invite when that becomes available later in July. So if you're interested in serving on this committee, we would appreciate your efforts in helping us go through these bylaws. It has been some time, as you can see here, since we have really looked at them and updated them. And so it's time that we need to take a look at that to ensure that we are in compliance with the current bylaws that we have and any updates that are needed. And so again, if you're interested in serving, please reach out to Esther. Are there any questions in regard to the bylaws? Okay, if there are none, we will move on to new business. So this was the added item that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, which is our AIEA Finance webinar. And this actually should be our online summer class. So I apologize for not changing that from our last meeting in April. But this is a collaboration with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. This is our partnership actually began in 2021. And they created a AIEA Finance Virtual Summer Class just for our community. The cost is free. This is a self-paced class that is open anytime from May 1st to September 4th. It is designed for high school and college students, but parents may also participate to get information on important topics for their children. Educators may also join the class. It's really valuable information that is shared. It includes around 6 hours of content to complete the course. So again, it's a self-paced course. If you complete 6 hours, then you will get a digital badge. And so what it is, it's through videos and modules that are online and interactive. Learners will discover and apply essential concepts, including how to create and keep a budget, how to evaluate everyday decisions, how to use savings and create responsibility. For those who successfully complete all of the content in the syllabus will receive at no cost a Credly badge certifying their achievement. Digital badges can be displayed on social media and added to email signatures to show that you are well informed on the topic. And so there is a flyer that we will share out to you in a follow-up email that Travis will send out to our membership with just this information. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Their contact is there listed on the slide. And it's encouraging that we have this because this is a topic that isn't shared out often. And so I think it's very helpful. I know that my own children went through it. I even went through it as a college student and not understanding the full aspect of what credit is, meaning any type of loans, what type of loans are out there, and how to build up my own credit, once I did enter college many, many moons ago. And so my children also could have, what little knowledge I shared with them during that time was helpful, but more detailed information that's being provided in these modules is really resourceful for our college students and even our parents, but it relates to credit and loans and things of that nature for personal finances. And so I encourage you, this is open to our AIEA community. Again, it's open to students, to parents, to educators, and administrators, anybody who would like to partake in this. This is a free online course. So again, we'll send out the flyer so that you can join in. It is open until September 4th. Again, it's just a self-paced, not fast-paced, but a self-paced modules that are available to you. Are there any questions? Janelle, did you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we hear you.
Okay, so if I have 5 graduates, I can send them this link, or this email or this link, so that way they can register on their own, or does it have to go through you guys, or does it go through the bank?
No, it's on their own. Like I said, it's a self-paced, and let me see if I can pull that up and share that flyer with everybody here in the meeting today. So that way you will have it. Okay, so I dropped the flyer in the chat, and there is a link. The picture that you see on the screen is the actual flyer. And you can see the login information that is available. It does state you have to have a Gmail account to register. So if you don't have a Gmail account, you can contact them if you don't know how to get one, and they'll help guide you through the process of getting a Gmail, or if you just want to create one on your own. But there is a code that is available for when they do log in. When you come to the login page, you'll see credentials that need to be added, and underneath the credentials, there'll be a Google button that you can click on, so you can log in using the Google information. Excuse me. And so that's what they're asking any of our community members or membership that to use that Google login information. Once you do get past that, you'll just enter the password code that's available on the flyer, and then it'll give you the correct module for AIEA. And again, it's just 6 hours that need to be completed at their own pace.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you very much.
Absolutely. I know your students needed to get on that right away. So we tried to
Yes,
get it
yes.
open. And so we were fortunate that Megan actually really worked on getting that updated and uploaded to where it would be available. So thank you, Janelle.
All right, thank you, Ms. McGee.
Any other questions? All right. If there are none, we will move on to our next item, which is our AIEA financial status. And so we did want to update our membership. We have our executive officers have been meeting with the ITCA. For those who may not be aware, ITCA is our fiscal agent, and they have been since 2016. And so actually, Travis, if you're still on, yes, you are. If you don't mind just sharing on how that relationship started with ITCA and how they became our fiscal agent. And then I'll share out the remaining information that's on the slide.
Sure. It really goes back to the history of AIEA. AIEA was started back in the 70s from a group of concerned Indian parents about the way that JOM was being administered to the schools. They weren't being administered in a timely manner. And so the parents came together to talk with the state about how that could be, those monies could be filtered down to the schools in a faster way. And they felt that it was important that parents meet on a regular basis to talk about these issues. And in the 80s, and there was a really strong partnership back then with the Office of Indian Education. And then in the 80s, they formed an informal group called I think it was like the Greater Phoenix Valley Indian Parents Committee or something like that. And that committee continued in the 80s and the 90s. And then formally, Arizona Indian Education Association was formed as a 501c3 back in 2003. And the organization was pretty strong back in the early 2000s with parent conferences and youth conferences. And then there was sort of a lull for a couple of years, and there was interest in wanting to dissolve the organization. But there was still interest in wanting people, or there was still interest in the need for this organization to continue. And so again, a bunch of concerned people throughout the state felt that there was still a need for AIEA, but they felt like they needed a fiscal agent to kind of help them along as they were rebuilding the organization. And so ITCA decided to serve as the fiscal agent, and a formal MOA was signed between ITCA and AIEA. And I guess, Kim, you can take it from there.
Yes, thank you, Travis. I always appreciate the background information that you provide. You do it very well. So thank you for providing that background on how it began. As we mentioned, excuse me, the transition for what that is referring to, the transition in fall of last year, not 2023, which will be a transition coming up. But for the transition that took place began last year in fall of 2022, that we started talks with ITCA and wanting to see whether or not they can continue as our fiscal agent. And in the conversations we have had with ITCA as recent as May 10th, as you can see on the slide, with the admins there, with the organization, excuse me, we have decided that it would be good if AIEA could stand on our own 2 feet, in other words, in order to move forward as an organization. So we did get confirmation. There was a lot of miscommunication with whether or not we were still a nonprofit organization. So it took us, a few months, and actually last year we got final confirmation with meeting our financial advisors for AIEA that we did get confirmed that we are an official nonprofit organization. And so with that, because we are an official 501c3 organization, ITCA admins had stated, they talked with their lawyers, that because we are an official nonprofit, that they could no longer serve in the capacity as our fiscal agent. And so we are in the current process now from this point on, that we are going to try and get out from underneath the umbrella of ITCA and just continue to move in the direction as just an AIEA organization, without having that umbrella over us. And so that is what we are making plans to do. Our executives met earlier this week. ITCA did state that in future they would like to continue the relationship as a business partner. So in providing information for any sponsorships that they can provide to us, any outside resources that would be available as sponsorships for future events, they're willing to work with us on getting those sponsorships as well. So they would like to, but they can't do that right now because we are currently still under ITCA. So we are working to sever that fiscal agent capacity and work towards just becoming business partners. So one of those ways that we're doing that, as I mentioned, our executive have met to discuss a plan to begin the transition. So one of the things that first and foremost we would like to do is look at websites. Currently, we do have a website which is under ITCA, so we will need to look at creating our own website outside of ITCA. So we currently have our vice president looking into cost and pricing for websites of what that would cost to create our own website and to design it, whether or not we would be able to have our own domain. But we're looking at those options and how we can move forward. One of the other things we're looking at is our finance. AIEA will start our own invoicing. One of the things that ITCA did mention, excuse me, is that the current purchase orders that were provided to ITCA up to date will be honored by ITCA. So they should have already sent out invoices to those programs who have submitted their purchase orders for our membership. And so if you have not received an invoice from ITCA for your membership, please let me know. And then this is for those who have submitted application or membership applications are ready for this year. And so if you have not received an invoice from them, please let me know and I will reach back out to make sure that's done properly. But from this point on, starting this week or probably next week, excuse me, we will start creating our own invoices from AIEA, and that will come directly from our organization. All funds from this point on will be directly into our Desert Financial Bank account. Again, we are updating a lot of information, so we just appreciate your patience and understanding as we go through this transition, that it's working in our favor to where everything's falling into place. And so we have already begun those steps of the transition, and so we are looking forward to a positive and rewarding future for AIEA. And as we make that transition into getting out on our own, we just decided that it's time. I think we're strong enough as an organization to move forward and to be able to stand on our own 2 feet, so to speak. And so are there any questions in regard to what has been shared here? Any questions or clarifications needed? Just to note that ITCA is still, like I said, they're still excited to support us. They just want us to come out from underneath them, so they'll be able to view us as a business partner instead of under their umbrella. So, you know, that relationship will continue for future events and activities. And so they're not cutting us off altogether, but they would like to just view us as a business partner. All right, if there's no questions, we will move on, which brings us to, with that being said, we do need an address update. So we do have a current box number, USPS box number, I believe that's what it is, that is going to be provided for us. And I do have, if I am going to ask Esther here in a few minutes to provide that information, but we are needing an address update because of our financial status. For our bank account, for Desert Financial Bank, we do need a current address to where we'll be able to have that just for our AIEA organization. Currently, it is under ITCA address, and so they did state for their purposes of financial records, our name does need to come off of anything that has their address on that. So that includes the Desert Financial Bank. This will also include our membership application. As I mentioned, the application we did share is for this year. Once we do update our membership application, we will send the updated form out to our membership and get that up and online so that you'll be able to have the current application with our new address on there. That way, the applications will come directly to us, and there won't be any waiting for any type of invoices as we have in the past. We'll be sure to get those out to you in a timely manner. This also is needed for any of our upcoming events. For instance, our youth leadership camps, for our summer and winter camps, we do ask a registration fee to be paid. And so again, that fee payment will need to come to AIEA. So we do need an address to be updated to where those payments, if they pay by check, to be coming into our organization, so we can deposit those into the bank account, as well as our educator celebration that we have. Or during that time, we have either our dinner fees that we used to have whenever we would meet in person, our registration fee for that, as well as our online auction, or not online, our auction, silent auction that we would have during those events. So that way, if there's any checks or anything that need to come back to AIEA, we will have the updated address for that. And so we do have a new address that can be used. And so I am going to call on our Vice President, Esther. She does have some information for the mailboxes. And so Esther, if you don't mind sharing that information.
Sure. Thank you, Kim. If you could give me access to share my screen. And so what I did is, I know that we need to create, that we're trying to be independent. And so moving forward, I'd like to review, excuse me. I'd like to review some mailbox choices that we may have. Currently, we used my personal UPS box as an emergency. However, I'd like to make sure that we establish it through Arizona Indian Education Association under that name to make sure that we can receive all the items that we need. So this one is through the U.S. Postal Service. And let me share, go slideshow so we can see it bigger. Give it a second, it's saying loading. Okay, there we go. And so there are different sizes depending on how much mail we're going to get. We have size 1 and size 2. I didn't think we needed anything bigger than that because we don't get large amounts of mail or packages. The sizes are mostly by packages. How many packages can you receive and fit in one box? And so this is a really good price. It holds 10 to 15 on size 1 and 3 rolled magazines. So that's the normal smaller box for a monthly payment of $450. When the mailbox itself would have a PO box number and then the city and then the zip code. It is available 24/7, so you can check it out anytime. However, if we do receive packages from Amazon, say we're getting supplies, or someone ships us something from other places, they won't accept those packages. So that is one of the things that they don't do. There's minimal cost, like I said, and then you receive 2 keys. And then so the signers would just take their IDs and go sign up through USPS. And that's the Postal Service. For the next one that I researched, there is also the UPS. And so here's the mailbox pricing. The business mailboxes, you can only do medium or large. And there's pricing per month. So on this mailbox, you actually receive a street address, and then the box is the suite number. There are multiple key holders, so you can do that. For every additional key, it's $5. They do accept packages of all sorts. You could check the mailbox on 24/7, and then you just have to take proof of your identity and something else of residency. So there's 2 forms of IDs. It is $30 to set up the box at first, and then the monthly payments. So as you see here, this one is a little more costly. The medium box 6 months is $174 total, and 12 months is $324 total. And then so AIEA would have its own mailbox. So I guess the biggest is the cost difference between the two and the street address. One is a PO box, and then one is a street address, and then the other one is USPS does not accept packages, but UPS does. So I really want to make sure that we look this over and make a proper choice so AIEA can get on its own feet and start receiving mail independently. Are there any questions or suggestions?
All right, thank you, Esther, for sharing that information. I know it's needed so that we can make a appropriate decision for AIEA. And we just wanted our membership to know that we will be updating our address. And these are the options that we are currently looking at for getting our own address for AIEA organization. And so we don't want to keep you guys left in the dark. And if you have any suggestions, please feel free to share them with us to our AIEA Gmail, and we'll be sure to consider those suggestions and input whenever we do have our next executive meeting and deciding what that address would be. Once we do make a decision, we will bring it back to the membership because we would like to have our membership to approve that. And so currently right now, again, it is under ITCA, but we are looking at getting our own address. So once we do have that, we need to call a special meeting. We will let everybody know ahead of time. And so thank you again, Esther, for bringing that information to us. And we look forward to hearing from our membership for any suggestions and input. But again, we just wanted to let our membership know that that will be taking place. Are there any questions? All right, if there are none, we are done, I believe, with our meeting portion. And so now we would like to open it up to anybody who is still on the call. I know we had to have several of our members that needed to leave for meetings just due to their schedules. And so we definitely understand that. But if there's any share out you would like to provide to us, please feel free to unmute and share out what exciting events you are having. And so I am going to silence myself and open it up. Please feel free to unmute yourself and share out what exciting things are happening with you. Any events going on. I know it's at the end of the year, but if you have summer events that are taking place, please feel free to share. If you have any flyers you would like to share, please drop those in the chat. We will be sure to pull those out and share them out with our other membership that is not able to be with us today. So are there any share outs? Esther.
Yeah, I always have share outs. I'm always doing something in the community and then trying to stay active and supporting all that I do. So I just want to let you all know that there is going to be Native American representation at the Azela Standards ADE review. I can't tell you details about that, but it is the Arizona ELL language assessment. So we'll be reviewing that assessment, making sure everything is appropriate. And so that's coming up for me, and it's 4 complete days, and we'll just be reviewing that assessment. I'm excited that working with SunClan as a consultant, we will be working with the Gila River high school students on increasing the academic standards and learning. And so it's not going to be traditional classroom setting. They're going to have hands-on activities, and they're going to be fully engaged, I hope, in their process of learning. So it's going to be STEM related and also Native American culture, some language components. So I'm super excited to do that this summer with Gila River. And then in June and July, I will be assisting Native Health in Mesa and in the central location for different classes. In June, I'm excited. Here, I'll just show you. The class that I will be teaching is learning how to create your own, well, let's see, here we go. Learning how to bead your own hat. Well, it's not so nice there, but here, maybe that would catch it.
Looking good, yes.
I don't know if you can see it, it's a little blurry. But anyways, the bougie brim hat, well, I'll be teaching you how to bead that. And then on Father's Day, oh no, on that, so that'll be on the 8th and 10th of June. So just look out for my video on Native Health, Facebook or Instagram, and just register there for that class. They fill up quickly. I mean, real quickly. So if you see the advertisement, my video, register as soon as you can. And then the next one will be June 15th. I'll be co-hosting with Navajo Mike, who creates the barbecue sauce. He'll be teaching a recipe there, and we'll be doing a hands-on activity for Father's Day. So that's what's coming up. And I'm also looking forward to our winter camp, and then Muckleshoot, the canoe journeys at the end of July. So if you're interested in that, just know that it's going to be happening July 30th to August 5th. And that is on the Pacific Northwest area. So, all right, that's all I have for this summer. And I am still available to teach Native American culture classes, Native American history, among professional development for teachers, administrators, classroom sizes, and also auditorium sizes. So I do have things going on, and I'm super happy to be able to still meet with you all and continue my business. So yeah, thank you.
Always exciting stuff that you do, Esther. Thank you for sharing that out.
Thank
Are there
you.
any- Are there any others?
I can report out on in terms of, in a few weeks, let me think how many, I think it's 3 weeks now. There's a Native American Student Advocacy Institute in San Diego. That's more for higher ed than K-12, but anyway, I've been to it a couple times, at least twice, and it should be good. It's good information, good networking, connecting with people, things like that. Last year it was in the Phoenix area. I think I know your husband went a few years ago, Kimberly. Anyway, so, but that's coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's usually the first or second week of June that
Yeah.
they do that.
I think it's the 8th and 9th or something like that.
Yeah, the NACI, or forget what the acronym for that is, but they're
NASAI,
NACI, yes.
yeah.
Yes, but always great information that's shared out there. I was fortunate to attend one of the conferences some years back when it was held in Phoenix, there at ASU in Tempe, actually, and a lot of great information that's shared out during those times at the conferences. So if you're available and have time to attend the NASI conference, we encourage you to do so. So thank you, John, for bringing that up and sharing that out. Are there any other share outs that you would like to provide? As a reminder, it is being recorded, so those who are not attending the meeting will get the information out to them via our YouTube channel.
Well, I just have one little quick shout out to Miss Esther. Thank you for doing their little cultural activities with my very small group of kids at our Navajo Elementary School. They thoroughly enjoyed it. Miss Simmons just raves about you every time she has a chance to talk. She said she enjoys your classes. She's learning. She loves the fact that it's just a group of 4 little young women that you're making an impact on. And she wants to continue next year if she does this again. So I just want to let you know we're gonna keep you a little around longer here. So I want to just give you a little shout out and tell you thank you. And if anybody needs cultural services, she does great things. I wasn't able to go to these last few sessions. It's been crazy over here. But you know, Esther, you did really well. I love that. Also, I might be booking you again. I got a request, but actually I've had people ask me when we did our inaugural culture night this past November. I'm already being asked, is there a second one coming up? They want a second one. So I said, yes, we will work on this. So Esther, I might be calling you again. Esther did a great job being my MC. So I'm really thoroughly enjoying that. And I'm working on to see, Esther, you worked with one of the little girls, that I'm going to probably use her as my ending showcase jingle dance. So I think that'll be a neat little treat for the people to see. So I'm kind of excited. I wasn't expecting anybody to come and start asking me about that. I just figured, you know, end of the year, it's kind of crazy. But that was kind of a nice thing. It filled my heart that people were excited about the first one. Now they want a second one. So we're going to work on that. And graduation's coming up. We have a lot of our Native students. I have been thankful that we had one incident a few years back, probably I think it was like about 10 years ago, where we did have a regalia issue with a necklace. And I am so thankful that, like Kimberly said, that Arizona actually thinks about our students, and we had advocates behind that to push that through to make sure that our kids get to showcase their proudness of their unique culture that they hold within their hearts and showing among everyone. So we haven't had that issue since. Our superintendent is very open to all this. So we talk about it all, when we get a chance, we talk about, I brag about my kids. I mean, I do. I always brag about them. So I'm really glad on that. Next week, graduation. I'm so happy. I'm sad. A lot of these kids, I have known every single one of these kids since they were right into kindergarten. So this time of year is very sad for me. And I know it's like that with everybody too, because they become your kids. You watch them grow, you've watched them struggle, and you've watched them succeed. So once they cross that stage, I'm in tears. I mean, there's no waterproof mascara that will ever hold back your tears. But unfortunately, the 1 year that I really, really wanted to be there for some of these kids, unfortunately, I might not make it. I will just make sure there's no cops around when I'm trying to get back into town, because I have a niece that's graduating also as well. Very proud of her. She went to her 8th grade formal. They had one last night, so I got to see the dress. I was a little kind of cautious on some of those girls' dress wear. For 8th graders, I was like, yeah, if I was their mother, I'd be running around with a sweater. So, but, I'm really excited about that. So, shout out to all our graduates, our 8th grades, our kinders, our high schools, our college, even some of our parents that are also graduating from college for the first time. So just want to give a little shout out to everyone and thank everyone for all what you do as being parents, uncles, aunts. I know most of us, we're not just working in our jobs. We're family members. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone.
Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate that. And yeah, Esther does awesome work. She's even come down. I've had her come down to Tucson a couple of times to help our students with some activities with beadwork, as well as creating our student gifts for our graduates and our 8th graders. So again, just giving her a shout out to her business, Bitterwater Designs, that if you need cultural education, she's the lady for it. So any other share outs? Trudy or Shannon, I don't know if you want to share out any of your summer activities that are coming up, if you're available.
I think we just have that summer employment for camp counselors. Other than that, we're just waiting for, it's the end of the school year, but we're actually looking forward to the start of the school year.
Awesome. And just as a reminder, Shannon and Trudy are with the Girl Scouts for our state here in Arizona. They're the representatives for that. So thank you, ladies, for joining with us on that. I do have one that I forgot to share out earlier in my president's report, and that is an upcoming conference that I'm actually hoping to bring to our area and working with the University of Arizona. They are going to be having a mobilizing the colonial praxis conference. This will be the second conference that they're going to be holding. The first one was held last year, or actually I think this is the 3rd year maybe, because I know the first one they held in 2021 and it was a virtual conference just due to, at the time, the pandemic that was taking place, but they're continuing to have this. I'm really honored and excited that I was asked to join in on this planning committee. This is an opportunity for Indigenous educators, elders, and youth to come together and share expertise in working with indigenous communities. So they have a few keynote speakers that are going to be a part of the conference. This will take place June 15th and 16th. So I believe that is a Thursday and Friday. It'll be each day from 8:30 to 4 o'clock, and it's going to take place here in Tucson at the University of Arizona's Health Science Innovation Building. So I did put the address there if you're interested. If you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the conference information, where if you're interested in registering for this particular conference, there is a button you can click on to register for that. There is a group rate for those who are coming from out of town and traveling, that the Aloft Hotel is actually the host hotel for the conference. Doubletree and La Quinta, more information on those two hotels will be coming as they become available for attendees. But a couple of the keynote speakers for the conference include Carletta Toulouse from the Havasu tribe. I believe I said that correctly. And then Kiki, oh, I always mess up on her last name, but she's Hawaiian. She will be one of the keynote speakers. We're really fortunate that she's wanting to be a part and helping us out in this conference for the ITEP program. Also, there's Dwayne Chiliyazi, who is Dene. He is an Earth Defender. So he will be providing some presentations during the time at the conference. And also Timothy San Pedro, who is Filipino American, who will also be one of the keynote speakers. But there is an agenda that is available on the website once you take a look at that. So I encourage you that if you want to be a part of this great conference, we are hoping that we'll have a good participation again for this year, because we are going back to in-person for this. And so again, that's mobilizing decolonial praxis spring conference that's going to be coming up. And so other than that, things that we've done within my program, as I mentioned, we've had several events here in our MFI school district with our Native American education program. On May 6th, we held our powwow event, a social powwow gathering that we actually partnered with the Tucson Indian Center this year. It was the first time we partnered with them on this particular event, and we had such a great turnout. We had 2 drum groups that came down. We had a gourd dance session that was early afternoon, and then we had a supper break that went into the intertribal dancing for the evening session. But we had close to 300 participants and attendees that came. We had 10 plus, maybe between 10 to, I want to say there's at least 10 that were there, but there may have been a few more vendors that were here that came down from across the local area, including those that came in from New Mexico area. So it was really exciting to see that the vendors wanted to come down to Tucson to be a part of our little event, which actually was pretty good size. But the Tucson Indian Center was a great partner with us on this event. They actually sponsored a fun run and walk in the morning time. So it was a full day of events that we had on May 6th. And I think we had close to 25 participants that came out for that event in the morning session. So that's really exciting for us, because we're one of the smaller districts here in Tucson. And so we had a lot of participation for that particular event, and we're looking forward. All of the head staff want to come back. They're all a part of education and some aspect, or work with nonprofit organizations for the Native American communities. And so we're really excited that they want to continue that event and want to come back. So we are already in the process of planning for next year. And so just keep that in mind, that next May, usually around the first week of May, is when we'll have that annual powwow that we're hoping will become an annual event for us. In addition, the following week, which was last week, May 10th, my program actually held our graduation ceremonies for our graduating seniors, as well as our 8th graders who are being promoted into high school. We always acknowledge and give them honor for the milestones that they've set in each of those grade levels. And so we were really excited. We took a chance, we went out on a limb, and we're really excited that our keynote speaker for this year was a Dene actor, or a Navajo actor, who is Lauren Anthony, who actually came down. He's from the Gallup area. If you've heard of Chiz for Che, did I say that right? My Navajo relatives, which is Navajo for firewood for grandpa, I believe is what he said. But the founder of that organization, it's a grassroots organization that he created some years back, and it's in the upper part of the state, so the northern part of the state, and New Mexico area. He's out of Gallup, but they chop wood. Excuse me, and I know that they've worked with a lot of students in that area from across Arizona and in that region, northern part of the region, with students and chopping the wood and just giving it out to the elders, the Navajo or Hopi elders, or those that are in the area surrounding the Gallup area. And I think he said they have some stations in Flagstaff area as well. But it's actually grown over the years, and during the pandemic, they gave out so much woods to those that needed it during that time. And I forget exactly how much he said, but it was a lot of wood that they've donated already this year. And so they're continuing to do that. But he is, as I mentioned, an actor. He did appear in several well-known movies that I didn't know about. But he is actually was uncertain whether or not he could be our keynote, because he had mentioned he got a call just a week before for a Netflix film, as well as a Kevin Costner film that he was put on standby for. So we were really honored and thankful that he took time to come down. Really a humble person with a really beautiful soul, and the message that he shared out to our students and our parents. We actually had about 50 people that came, and that included our students, our parents, even our teachers, and our we give out special awards for the NHN Student Recipients Award, which is named in honor of a former NAEP coordinator that served with the Amphi District for a number of years. But the family came, and it was a really nice event. So we're just coming off of those big events that we had. So it's been a busy few weeks for us. Now we're into graduation week, as well as end of the school year. And so lots going on, but just wanted to share that out for what we're doing here in Amphi School District. So any questions or anything else you can think of that you would like to share out? And Esther did put her contact information in the chat for those who would like to connect with her in regard to the cultural education classes and the sessions that she provides. All right, so with that, that is all that we have for our AIEA meeting for today. And so thank you again for joining us. We had a lot of information that we share out during the meetings. Again, these are recorded. Again, I apologize for interrupting you, Sheila, but I did need to push the record button. I could do my own recording at the beginning for my portion, but I just wanted to make sure we got the rest of the meeting on the record. But these will be uploaded. As I mentioned, all of our meetings, past meetings, will be uploaded to date. Probably within a week, I'll make sure that those are online. So there's our YouTube channel where all of those recordings will be housed at. So again, our next meeting will take place next month in June, on June 16th, starting at 11 a.m. For any information or questions, you can connect with Travis in regard to the meeting for your agendas or meeting minutes if you have not received them by then. And so we thank you again for joining us for today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. So with that, I would like to end this meeting and would like to call for a motion to adjourn.
No motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Shannon. Motion on the floor, and we will go by consensus for everybody that if we will adjourn at 12:58. So we have 2 minutes to spare to give back to you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Esther. And so with that, if there are no objections or abstentions, please say aye if there are. If not, then we will close the meeting. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next month. And be in touch and let us know what exciting things is happening in your part of the area, and we'll be sure to get that out to membership. So have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you, Kimberly. Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
It was nice to see you.
Yes,
Okay,
great to see
bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Have a
Bye.
good weekend.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye, Kim.